Hi, this is Russ Ballard, and you're listening to the Voices of Russ Ballard podcast.
Good morning, good evening, wherever you are, and welcome back to the Voices of Russ Ballard. And our guest this morning is so enthusiastic to talk to us that he's actually coming in before the intro. So we're just going to try and keep him at bay because he's dying to speak to us. But Sven, before we introduce our guest, we've got some dates coming up. I think they start very soon, probably by the time this goes out. Russ,
yeah, I heard that a certain Mr. B is going on tour. So UK Autumn Tour. That sounds good to me. So a couple of gigs. I hope that many of our listeners will be lucky enough to see him somewhere between London and what's the other end of the tour, Ian?
Oh, probably.
Yeah, probably. That sounds good to me. So he's back in the UK groove. Yeah, that sounds also very good to me. That is the breaking news for the moment. But now, let's go on.
Before we do go on, a quick advert for Sven. You put some work in on the editing side, and we did it together in Germany. We've launched a series called 3 Minutes With, of which the first one has already gone out. By the time this goes out, we may have put them all out. But there's 4 episodes, and that's our first video, Voices of Russ Ballard. So if you get a chance, dear listener, to go onto YouTube and have a listen and a look, we'd love you to do so. And it features all the members of Russ's current band, so have a listen to that. But anyway, we're going to move forward. Now, we've got today's guest. So today's guest is a man making history. He's making history today because he is the only person so far to be on the Voices of Russ Ballard not once, but twice. That's apart from the boss, of course, Russ Ballard himself. And he wants to talk to us about a new project. And when he told us about this new project, I said to him, "You really got me. People need to hear more about it." So Sven and I have been researching all day and all of the night for when we speak to this dedicated follower of fashion. Let's face it would be a tragedy if we didn't. This is a celebration and guaranteed to bring you joy, I'm still laughing, and pure love. So it's our pleasure to welcome one of the nice guys of rock and roll, a lovely, lovely man, and Russ's friend of 64 years. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mr. Bob Henrit.
Good evening, everyone. Good day probably is best because everybody's not in England as we speak. But thanks for having me on. And as far as I'm concerned, I've been trying to do this for years. And I've always felt that that we weren't bigging ourselves up enough in our little bit of East Harts, which is where Russell comes from, Roy comes from, everybody comes from that has been involved with us lot. And it's just a very great thing to do. And so I've been for years trying to make it happen. And eventually it is happening, and it's opening when it opens, and marvel at all the stuff.
Well, let's explain a little further to our listeners, just to put some colour behind that. It's the theme of our podcast. Bob, as he's going to tell us, has been heavily involved in a local exhibition in the Broxbourne area called Borough Beats. He'll tell us a lot more about it in a moment. It starts on Saturday, the 4th of November, until the 1st of June 2024. And it's a celebration of the local talent that grew up in the area. So, Bob, you were starting to tell us more. How did the idea all start? I mean, how did this...
Well, the Kinks played at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the inauguration concert for, and everybody and his dog was on. Everywhere you looked, there was a rock and roll star, and one that you've admired all your life. I mean, it was, you look around and there was Chuck Berry. And it was just incredible. Prior to that, I was asked if I would like to help the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is in Cleveland, Ohio, and asked to help them and make the whole thing work by, I mean, it sounds ridiculous, by finding all the 8-track and the 4-track machines that the Beatles had ever used at EMI and get them shipped out to America and so on. Now, I thought that was a bit difficult at the beginning, but somebody did it, but it wasn't me. So I thought, well, I'm not going to do that, but I am going to do England or my bit of London. And something that there are two factions which made our musical careers. One was Lonnie Donegan, without a doubt, and the other one was Chestnut Boys Club, where we all met. So we would all go down there. We would play five-a-side. We'd rehearse. We'd do gigs. We did everything you possibly could do. And we would, if you needed a drummer because your drummer couldn't make it, you'd find one there. Or if you needed a guitarist, you'd find one there. So we started out in the Boys Club, and it was great fun. I mean, it was just fabulous to do. And we started being bona fide members of the Boys Club. And meanwhile, but prior to that, we learned Lonnie Donegan's music. And the interesting thing is, Lonnie Donegan was a skiffle person, and his music was called skiffle, and it wasn't difficult to play. It was actually, everybody played it badly, but it wasn't difficult to play it badly, if that makes any sense at all.
Oh, my old man's a dustman, he wears a dustman's hat. He wears gold-blimey trousers and he lives in the council flat. He looks a proper nana in his great big bobnail boots. He's got such a job to pull them up, but he calls them daisy roots.
Well, the interesting thing is, had we not started with skiffle, whether we would have got any further into rock and roll, I have no idea. But everybody that you know and I know of the era was turned on by skiffle. And some of us were good and some of us were bad. And I happened to be in a band that wasn't very good, but we had a great time. So
I remember
our lives were spent doing
I remember Jim Rodford starting a skiffle group, didn't he? Long before, I think, Rod Argent even came on the scene. Jim Rodford was gigging in a skiffle group, wasn't he? He
was, and he had the T-chest bass.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about the T-chest bass is it wasn't an instrument. The best it could manage, the best noise it could manage was bump. And you were supposed to be able to change the pitch of it. And if anybody could, it was Jim. But mostly it was just an adjunct and boom, 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 boom. But we had great fun doing it, and we would go around the streets, the local streets, the Waltham Cross streets, playing, in my case, the washboard, and in Russell's case, the guitar. And the washboard, I went round to a friend of mine's house one winter evening, and he said, "We're having a skiffle group." And he had something behind his back, and he produced what was behind his back, and it was a washboard. And he said, "And you are the washboard player." So I had to go and invest in some thimbles to be able to play the washboard. Mm-hmm. And the whole thing took off from there. And it was just a fabulous time, because I'm not sure that I was a good washboard player, but that said, I'm not sure anybody was a good washboard player. It was a racket. It was, as far as its volume control, it was stuck on 11. There was nowhere else to go. It just made this terrible noise, but we loved it. So that was our introduction. And eventually, as time went by, we didn't play Lonnie Donegan's only Lonnie Donegan's music. We would learn Elvis Presley, and Russell and I would learn lots of Elvis songs.
jumping and the joint began to swing. You should have heard this knocked out jailbird sing. Let it rock, everybody let it rock. Everybody in the wholesale block was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Spider Murphy played his intersection.
And it was part of our growing up. And,
what a fantastic start. What a fantastic start into your career. And then you became a terrific drummer. But Bob, what can we expect from the exhibition? I mean, that sounds really great, but what can the fans expect from the exhibition?
Okay, well, education, believe it or not. I am determined, I'm a curator, so I'm determined that what we are going to be seeing is music being played and people chatting about music. So I'm hoping twice a month, we'll all get together at the museum. So the first night will be a bunch of drummers, and then the next time it'll be a bunch of guitarists, and they can just sit and talk to their heart's content, which is pretty unusual, really. People don't want a whole bunch of drummers to sit down and talk about bloody drums, do they? I mean, it's pretty simple. So we are going to, as far as I'm concerned, Brian Bennett, Brian Bennett, me, and Clem Catini have in the past done speaking engagements together, and it works rather well. So I want to rip that off and do that. Certainly in the first couple of weeks, and we will sit, and anybody can come, providing they can.
How are people going to find out about that? So that's
all right. The website.
That's really exciting. Okay, so
it'll all be web led.
There's a website, so we'll put the link to the website when we put this pod out.
Yes,
put the link to the website so people can see that and so that no.
Okay, well, it's a bit of a very badly kept secret, but I want Russell to come along one Saturday afternoon or whenever it is and talk about writing a hit record, which of course is easy. Well, I think he finds it easy anyway. That's the idea. The idea is that
Not too bad. Yeah, he's got a couple under his belt, hasn't he?
Yeah, and then there'll be guitarists and bass players. Rod Argent doesn't actually fit in to the geographical demographic, if that's not a contradiction in terms, because he came from St Albans, which is not our bit. But I'm going to bend the rules. Not that there are any rules, but that's the idea. So I want it to be living and breathing, and I want us all to have a jolly good time. And if we can keep it going forever, that would be great.
Well, that sounds really exciting. How much is it to get in?
It's a lot of money. It's nothing. It's
really?
Free.
Fantastic.
It's awful.
And
That's
where
good
is
news.
it? And where is it?
It's in Hoddesdon. Right. It's in Hoddesdon, and it's opposite where the police station used to be, and opposite where the swimming pool used to be. So they both closed down. But you can actually go and stay in the police station.
Really?
But you can actually rent a cell every night. But the thing is, these are one-man cells. So if you go there, you really have to want to be a one-person prisoner. So it's also it's 250 quid. The money does go, well, it goes to charity, so that's good. But it's money, and I'm not sure how well it works.
So it's free, which is great. And what are the opening times?
I'm glad you asked.
Can we say something about the opening times? So just in case I would be there, let's say 6 a.m. in the morning.
It's on the website, and I don't think you would be there at 6 o'clock in the morning. You could be.
I could.
Ben could be, yeah.
We went, when I was with Don McLean, we were touring America, and we turned up at the Tom Mix Museum. I don't know if you know who Tom Mix is. He was the cowboy in the white hat. He was a goodie. Anybody in a black hat was a baddie. So anyway, McLean decided that we were going to go to see the Tom Mix Museum, and we did. And it was these are stories that I can tell when we're sitting with a cup of coffee in our hands in the museum.
Well, that's what people want to hear, and that's what, you know, it's good. It's one thing having a walk around and looking at you know, what the museum is showcasing, but it's quite another to have you, Brian Bennett, and, you know, other drummers.
Clem Catini, yeah, well, that's the idea.
So that's really exciting. Tell us about the Chesham Boys Club, because this is very, I've heard a lot about it from you. I've been lucky enough to hear this some of the stories, but that's a real it's fundamentally part of this exhibition, isn't it? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's an old-fashioned, as far as I'm concerned, it's an old-fashioned museum, and it will have lots and lots of photographs of people like me, Russell, Cliff Richard. What I haven't actually said yet is that Cliff was quite, he had a big part to play in my growing up a musician. And what happened was he lived next door to me when the family came over from Lucknow, and he lived next door to me for several years. And so we saw a lot of one another. And although I never got to play with the Shadows. Are you listening, Cliff?
It's so funny how we don't talk anymore. It's so funny why we don't talk anymore.
No, anyway, I haven't played with the Shadows, but I heard, interestingly enough, I heard my mother and Cliff's mother chatting. This was very early days, chatting over the back fence about how Tony Meehan had a problem. He was the drummer, and would I be interested in doing it? I mean, this is mothers over the back fence, and in the end, I didn't do it.
Did you contact Sir Cliff and ask him for his support?
Yes, I did. He had.
Yay!
I mentioned a few things about his growing up, living next door to me, and we spoke about his cousins who were all living next door as well. They had anglicized names, so one of them was called Happy, the other one was called Chuckles, the other one was called Sonny, and that's what they did. We were friends, of course, and then he went to school with my sister, and we would meet at the boys' club because he was a member too. And of course, the next thing, of course, he's no longer Harry Webb. He's AKA Cliff Richard.
But you contacted him, Bob, didn't you, for the purposes of the exhibition?
I did, yeah. I spoke about it, and I was hoping that he could come, but he's got 6 months to come. So, but he is on tour, and so he said thanks for the invite, but he can't make it. But best luck and all. Have good luck, and then we will.
He gave you a quote, didn't he? Did he give you?
He did, yeah. It'll be striped on the wall of the museum. Right. I'm not going to tell you what it is because
no, I was going to say. Well, I was hoping for an exclusive. But
yes, I am going to tell you what he said.
Go on.
He said, "Dear Bobby," and then went from there. And I said, "Cliff, nobody's called me Bobby since my mother died. Thank you very much. I think I like it." So anyway, I am now Bobby again.
Well, I was going to say, if he hasn't messaged you back, can you tell him to move it?
I see what you did there, I think. Every year there would, at the boys' club, there would be a charity gala, and Cliff would play, and we would play, and anybody else who was around would play.
Brilliant. How long ago was that?
Before I joined Adam Faith, so let's go with 1960.
Wow.
59, maybe.
That's older than me. That's really old.
It is, isn't it?
Sorry to say that, Bob.
No, there's worse. There's worse to come. Really, there is worse to come.
I understand. I hear you. Thank you.
I always wanted to know, were the Kinks local to you two?
They weren't, well, it depends on the demographic that you use. They were Muswell Hill, of course. They were Muswell Hillbilly Boys. And so they were probably 4 or 5 miles away from us lot in Waltham Cross and Chesham, East Harts, we used to call it. And so they weren't that far away, but neither were the zombies. And certainly for this living and breathing thing that where you come along and you chat about whatever you want to talk about, I'd like Rod to come along and because Rod was unique. I mean, we were all pretty unique, but Rod really was unique when they did "She's Not There." The piano solo on it was very unusual. I was going to say made history, and it does. People, keyboard players in America always used to marvel at what Rod had done.
Especially when he wrote it at 18 years old.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, well, we were all kids, really. And I mean, certainly, somebody asked me yesterday, when did we go to New Zealand? And I was nearly 17 when we went to New Zealand. Now that's ridiculous. I mean, I wasn't a 10-pound pom.
Oh, yeah.
I did go with Adam Faith and John Layton, funnily enough. Johnny, remember me? Johnny. Anyway. So we were off and running very, very quickly. And the next thing, we were seeing the world.
Amazing.
I'm not sure whether it's still there, but I'm hoping it is.
Do you want to mention the name of the other, I say the official, the other curator, the official curator? Didn't she interview Russ recently?
Yeah, it's Helen Giles. Her name is Helen Giles, and she's a proper curator. I mean, if you can get a degree in curating, she has it. She comes from Liverpool, and when Russell was interviewed by her, Russell spotted that there was a Liverpool connection, and started making jokes about Liverpool, as you do, and she liked it. Or he also, I think he serenaded her. I think he had a guitar and serenaded her.
Really?
Well,
she's a very nice girl.
He's a very smooth guy, and it's the sort of thing probably he would do, you see, because he can. I mean, you'd probably serenaded a few people and a few girls over the years, particularly
with my washboard.
I think in the Roulettes days when you came on and did the little dances and things. But that's one for another time, maybe. But
the dance routines.
I do know it's a fair cop, Gov, and I do know A, D, and E on the guitar, and so that Winnebago, which was a Phoenix song, was written on the guitar mainly because it's only got A, D, and E in it. That's all it needs. There were a lot of people at the Boys Club who went on to make it, and in my case, and Russell's case too, having mastered the washboard, the next thing was the drums, and within 5 years, I was playing at a Royal Command performance at the Palladium. Now I was just a kid, and it all seemed quite natural to me, and it was pretty much the same for all of us, really. We were ploughing our own furrow and having a good time.
Are there any of your items that you've volunteered to put? I mean, I would imagine in the Henrit archives there are some quite interesting stuff. I don't know, the old Argent drum head or other sorts of stuff that you have in your cupboard somewhere.
Well, there is somewhere, and I don't know where, there is a Roulettes drum head.
Wow.
So, and but I don't know where it is. And these things happen, you know, because when we were living in Winchmore Hill, believe it or don't, in my loft, it was a 4-bedroom detached, but it wasn't that big. And in my loft, I had 35 drum kits and 50 snare drums. Now, that is enough to bring the roof down. It never did, but in the end, I thought I'd better get rid of all this stuff. It's going to bring the house down. You know, I'm going to find it no longer in the loft. It's going to be down in the kitchen. Anyway.
So you still have a couple of days to find the Roulettes drum head. So the exhibition starts on the 4th of November, and today is, don't know, we shall we say it?
Yeah.
Ian, it's just one day before Halloween.
It is, yeah. Speaking of rice puddings, which we weren't.
Going back to the idea of the exhibition.
Oh yeah.
It sounds a great idea, and you know, I was just thinking, do you think other boroughs will try and follow suit, or other areas?
Well, streets is an interesting point, because that is the obvious thing to do, isn't it? It really is. Now, of course, we know, or I know, that the Beatles, or there is a Beatles museum in Liverpool. Why wouldn't there be? But when you think of all the other places that could have one, Glasgow, Edinburgh, you know, there are Manchester, all those bands, we could have this whole thing could be all over the country.
Well, I can tell you, in Stockport, which isn't far from Manchester, there is a Strawberry Studios.
There is, yes, there is.
Museum, which has got lots of 10cc stuff, Herman's Hermits, Joy Division, all sorts.
I'm not alone, so don't forget it. It's just a silly phase I'm going through. And just because I call you up, don't get me wrong, don't think you got it made. I'm not alone, I'm not
Even the Sid Lawrence Orchestra recorded there, believe it or not. So if anybody's up that way, that's worth a look as well. Very much.
Oh,
so.
yes. I mean, this is our history. It's, of course, the interesting thing is, Streety, it's not everybody's history. And, you know, we can't expect everybody to be interested in it.
No.
But nevertheless, certainly for us baby boomers, it's very important.
It's been brilliant talking to you, but before we finish, unless there's anything else you want to remind us about when it starts and when it finishes, I'm just going to do an advert for this.
Thank you.
Called Crash Bang Wallop, which I have a copy with, which obviously doesn't come across very well on audio only, but I'm actually showing a copy of the book by Bob Henrit and Nigel Constable, and it's a great book.
So it's still an unsigned book.
It's still unsigned.
Oh, you have to come and see. I could send you a signature.
But tell everybody about the book. But while we've got you, we might as well do an unashamed plug, if we may.
Okay, well, a shaming plug. I have had that particular book in the back of my mind for quite some time. It's not the only book that I have in the back of my mind. There's one called Have You Come Far?
Have you come
which is
far?
about. Yes, indeed. You know this, don't you? Have you come far? This is something our gracious Queen used to say to you if you met her down Windsor High Street. And if she came over to you, she would say, "Have you come far?" And by the time you realised the Queen was talking to you, she'd be talking to the geezer next to you and she'd be saying, "Have you come far?" And anyway, so that's another book that's ready. But there's another book which is called On the Road Again. And that's about rock and roll. And the first one I haven't said. The first one is about, it's about seeing the world with the family. And I don't know if you know this, but the lovely Ricky and I have been going every year for this year's holiday of a lifetime. And and we've just had this year's holiday of a lifetime. We went to Athens and we had a splendid time. Anyway, we were, and looking at your guitar there, we were standing below we were standing on a promenade, and we were standing next to a guitarist who was exceedingly good, and he was playing jazz. And this woman came up to him and said, "Can you tell us the way to..." Now this guy is emoting, and she asked him if he could tell her the way somewhere. So we moved on and found another guitarist with an amplifier. And this guy was approached by a completely different woman who said, "Is that a Fender?" So we're standing below the Acropolis. And anyway.
Did you have your washboard with you? You could have joined in.
No, I've got one here. It's in but there is one in the museum.
That is good. So it is one in the museum.
The one in the living room here is a glass one, which is a complete no-no. It's absolutely ridiculous to put thimbles on a glass one. So when I play it, I'm going to be playing it with brushes. But I was hoping, and we still haven't ruled it out, that we could have the world's biggest skiffle group. So loads of guitarists, loads of washboards, loads of T-chest basses, and lots of Lonnie Donegan.
Well, I think that's probably a good point to end on, Bob. We're so grateful for your time today.
You're very welcome.
We purposely not talked about the rock star Bob Henrit. We talked about the exhibition and what Bob is doing to help the exhibition and the background to that. So I have written copious amounts on all of my mates, on Chaz and Dave and Mike Berry and everybody really that I know. So there's another book there if you want to publish it, guys. There you go. Anybody out there wants to get the publishing rights? Talk to Mr.
Well, I mean, certainly Crash Bang Wallop is doing rather well, which is
it? Oh, good.
Which is really good, and I probably shouldn't be owning up to this, but I do have the wherewithal in my brain to do another drum book. But you'd think one drum book were enough, weren't you? Never mind 4. So onwards and upwards, as they say.
Do it. You can't beat it. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, just do it.
See what you did there.
I'm sorry. Listen,
Did you write that down? Is that written on a piece of paper?
No. That just came naturally, Matron.
You can't beat it.
Yes.
Join it.
Well, you can use it. It's free. Anyway, listen, it's an absolute pleasure to talk to you, Bob.
Okay.
And you're looking very well. And good luck with the exhibition. Please,
thank you.
If you're going to do those talks, please let us know on the Voices of Russ Ballard. So that
of course, I shall keep in touch.
Social media, please do, yeah?
Okie doke.
But for the moment, thank you so much, Mr. Henrit. And Sven, I think it's probably goodbye from me, Ian.
Okay.
Me, Sven.
And is it goodbye from Sven, or is he staying on?
Hi, this is Russ Ballard, and you're listening to the Voices of Russ Ballard podcast.